Okay, so for problem 2.3, you're going to use rate tables, okay, which is kind of what we did in problem 2.2 with our tables for Crystal, Alexa, and Jared and Peter. So when comparing how to share chewy fruit worms, Crystal recorded how many segments she and her sister would get for different sizes of chewy fruit worms. Crystal thought she could use what she knew about equivalence to make a table showing amounts. So here's her table. And so again, you can see Crystal was 12, Alexa was 6, so she gets 12 segments, she gets 6 segments. And then you can see the other equivalent ratios, okay? The table shows that for every segment given to Alexa, Crystal gets 2 segments. This is Alexa's unit rate. So right here, where it says Crystal gets 2 segments for every segment Alexa gets, this is our unit rate because we have that 1. Okay, we have that 2 to 1. We have someone who only gets 1 piece. So that's our unit rate that can help us figure out any other information, that every other ratio follows this pattern. Okay? The table also shows that for every half segment, Alexa is giving, Crystal gets 1 segment. So again, we have another unit right here because Crystal now only gets 1. So we could use that unit rate to help us. And there's going to be different situations where we use each one, okay? So this is Crystal's unit rate. Crystal sees an ad for the chewy fruit worm. She decides she wants the student council to include chewy fruit worms in her fundraising sale. So here's the ad, and you can see that there are 30 worms for $3. So we're going to use all of this information in a rate table, and you can just make the table, copy the table down that's in your book here in just a second. I'll show you, okay? So we're going to start with question A, and you're going to do all the problems on this page as well. Question A, Crystal wants to calculate costs quickly for many different numbers of chewy fruit worms. Copy and complete the rate table below with prices for each of the numbers of chewy fruit worms. So I actually gave a handout in class that already had this made, so I'm going to show you mine, but since you don't have this handout at your house, just copy the table down and fill in the blanks, okay? So we already see that there are 30 worms for $3. This was what was on the ad over here, right? 30 worms for $3. So they already filled that information in for us. Now we need to figure out how much would 90 worms cost. 150 worms, 180 worms, like who needs 180 chewy fruit worms? I don't know, but we're going to figure that out. And then how much would 10 worms cost, 5 worms cost, and eventually 1 worm, okay? So when we get that information, and I'll go ahead and help you out here, you've got right here, the chewy fruit worm table pricing. So we can see that 30 to 3, that ratio, we know that 3 times 10 gives us 30. So this is almost like a 10 to 1 ratio. So we multiply 3 times 10 to get 30. So whatever this number is needs to be multiplied by 10 and give us 90. So we know that's going to be 9. Excuse me, talking too much. Whatever this number is, we have to multiply by 10 to get 150, and so we know that that's 15, and so on with 18. Now when we get here, we were multiplying on this side, but here we're going to have to start dividing. What is 15 divided by 10, okay? So 15 divided by 10 gave us $1.50. And then here, we talked about that 10 to 1 ratio. So if we have 10 worms, we know that that's going to cost $1. 5 divided by 10 gives us 50 cents, and 1 worm, we want to know the cost of 1 worm. Well, 1 divided by 10 gives us 10 cents, okay? So this is going to be our unit rate because we know that 1 worm, we want to know the cost of what 1 worm is, okay? So 1 worm is 10 cents, so that's our unit rate we're going to work with. Now this one could also be a unit rate, but this one's probably going to be more beneficial for what we need for answering these questions, okay? So there's that. And then when you go back here to number 2, how much do 3 chewy fruit worms cost? Well, we don't have 3 up here, but if I know that 1 worm costs 10 cents, well, 1 worm times 10 cents. You do the math, quick math, that's going to equal, 30 cents. Okay, so 30 cents per worm. All right. And there's a second part to that question. Sorry, this is really bumpy. I'm holding my phone, so I hope I'm not making anybody car sick or motion sick. Now, how much do 300 chewy fruit worms cost? Okay, so if I know that each worm is 10 cents, well, I could do, 300 times 10. 300 worms times 10 cents. Okay, then we can do that pretty quickly, and that's going to give us, our $30. And so if you need to line that up and do the algorithm, you can. So 300 times 10, just make sure that you move your decimal appropriately, okay? So that's going to be zeros all the way across. I'm going to do a place value 0 there. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. I'm going to add those up. This is really sloppy because I'm looking at this through my phone. That's my answer, but I have to put my decimal in. So since it's 1, 2 places over here, I have to move it 1, 2 places over here. Okay, and that's where my $30 comes from. Okay, now some students were talking about using other places on the chart here, like for instance, they know that 150 is half of 300. So if they do 150 times 2 to get to 300, they can also do 15 times 2, and that would give them $30. So use that mental math and that math knowledge you already have to help you find some of those shortcuts, okay? If you did this way and worked it out, all this, that's fine too. But if you can, be looking for those shortcuts and ways that'll help you get there faster, okay? All right, A3 is a very similar problem. How many chewy fruit worms can you buy for $50? Well, if I look at my chart, I don't have $50 anywhere here, okay? So how would I figure that out? And then it also says for $10, okay? Again, on my chart, I don't have $10 on here, but I do have $9, okay? So use the information on your chart to help you figure out how much money or how many worms you could buy for $10 and then $50, okay? Number 4, what is the unit price of one chewy fruit worm, and what is the unit rate? So the unit price there, it already gives it for you. That would be 10 cents. So your unit price equals 10 cents. And you can just write something like that on your paper. Just real simple. And then it says, what is the unit rate? The unit rate, again, that's going to be a statement. It's going to be 10 cents per worm. Okay, and we want to have that word per in there because we use that when we're talking about unit rates, okay? All right, so you're going to continue working on B and C, okay? So on B, read all this information carefully, especially this part here because you're going to need that later on in the question. So this information you will need, it's not listed in your table for, I think it's question 4 down here later, okay? So go ahead and copy this table down, fill out your missing information, and then answer the questions, okay? And then go ahead and answer C on those. Just simply tell me, how did you use these rate tables to help you answer these questions? And then how did you use those unit rates where we found the price of a single worm? Okay, how did you use those, or the number of ounces for a kernel of, for the cups of popcorn? Okay, so just simply talk to me about what you did, how you use these, and how you use unit rates to help you answer these questions, okay? Just give me a simple explanation on that, the best you can in your own words, okay? All right, if you have any questions, you can ask me when you get back to school, or again, send me a question on Google Classroom. All right, good luck.